Ever notice how it seems like every time you turn on the TV or watch the news, somebody's talking about a truck driver shortage? For decades now, the trucking industry has recycled the same old story, the so-called driver shortage. However, the numbers don't lie, and they tell a completely different story. The United States produces more than enough licensed drivers every year. What we really have is a retention problem and a system designed to burn people out. That false shortage narrative doesn't just distract from fixing the real problem. It creates openings for fraud, allows for almost non-existent CDL training, and creates shortcuts that keep this cycle going round and round like the wheels on a big truck.
Yeah, Jim, and when I pull into a Love's or a TA and every parking spot's full, it certainly doesn't look like a shortage to me. And you are spot on, my friend. For decades now, that's all we have heard from certain organizations in the trucking industry. The American Trucking Association is one of them. Remember when they said back in 2021 that the country was short about 80,000 drivers and warned the gap could double by 2030? The Bureau of Labor Statistics noted that the American Trucking Association has been repeating this same BS since at least 2005.
So what's the truth? Are we short on drivers or drowning in trucks? Every year, more than 400,000 commercial driver's licenses are issued in the United States, according to CCJ Digital. That alone covers retirements and normal workforce exits. If there were truly a driver shortage, wages would spike, sign-on bonuses would become sustained pay increases, and driver retention would improve rapidly. Instead, we see the average base pay remains flat in real terms. Benefits are lagging, and the annual turnover rate at large truckload fleets routinely exceeds the 80% mark.
Today, we're looking at both sides of the issue with real-world numbers. And we'll talk about how the new nationwide non-domiciled CDL pause and the English proficiency rule might finally raise pay and benefits for American drivers. At the same time, the trucking industry has been in a deep freight recession and is just now starting to get right. Carriers have been shutting down rather than scrambling to hire new drivers. Davis Express, TGS Transportation, and Dolce Truckload Corp. are among the companies that have gone under in 2025. We just recently made a video about 17 more truck bankruptcies so far in 2025, and we will put a link for it in the description for this video. You gotta ask yourself, if shippers needed freight moved and were desperate for trucks to move it, as we are being told, trucks would not be sitting idle while trucking companies keep going out of business. The real problem is a mismatch between how the job of being a truck driver is designed and what it takes to retain a professional workforce.
So why does the false narrative of a driver shortage persist? The answer is leverage. The continued and repeated talk of a driver shortage gives national trade associations and their lobbyists an avenue to keep pushing shortcuts that do not address the real problem, which is driver retention. The most visible shortcut they have used in the past and continue to use present day is immigration. For decades, the American Trucking Association has used driver shortage claims to argue their viewpoint that expanding visa programs is a solution to supposed labor gaps. That messaging comes straight from the national organizations and their advocates, not from small or mid-sized fleet owners that are busy trying to survive the market cycles.
Visa programs exist to fill real labor gaps. H-2B, E-2, and EB-3 visas make sense in industries where the domestic workforce is short or is not available, such as seasonal agriculture or specific hospitality roles. In trucking, the call for visas is rarely about a real driver shortage. It is usually about trying to avoid reform of something. It's the old, look at my right hand, while they slap you upside the head with a left.
Yep, you're right, Bernie. Instead of advocating for paying drivers for the dead time we are forced to eat sitting at docks, or trying to fix the unpaid detention problem and getting us better benefits, their answer was always more visas. In reality, the numbers are small. When Marco Rubio announced a pause on visas for commercial drivers, the pool involved was just under 1,500 annually out of a workforce of about 3.5 million drivers. Yet, the rhetoric around visas is presented like an existential fix. The visa pause did not shut down a critical pipeline or business, and it hasn't caused any problems with the economy. It actually revealed just how out of step the driver shortage BS talk really is when compared with market reality. The United States does not need more drivers. It needs better jobs and better training.
I couldn't agree more, Jim. The trucking industry does not struggle because of a shortage of people. It struggles because the job itself drives people away. Unpaid time at docks eats hours without compensation. Miles-based pay makes half a driver's day invisible on a paycheck. Long-haul trucking schedules will kill your family life, throw your sleep cycles off, and will take your health away if you let it. Benefits are pretty thin at many fleets. Respect from dispatch and management is sometimes thinner yet.
The Bureau of Labor Statistics wrote back in 2019 that the truck driver labor market functions like any other competitive market. Pay and conditions explain why people leave. Here is a newsflash. There is no evidence of a mysterious missing pool of workers who cannot be found. Retention is the problem. Drivers come in, get licensed, and leave when promises do not match reality. Fleets replace them again and again. It's called turnover. Lobbyists trying to bring in foreign drivers call this a shortage, which is BS.
You got that right, Jim. Examples are everywhere. A new driver might spend 3 unpaid hours waiting at a shipper, then sit for another hour at a receiver, then discover that the layover does not qualify for detention pay under the carrier or shipper's policy. The day looks full on a logbook, but it doesn't show up on a paycheck. Another driver may chase promised miles, only to find that seasonal volume swings wiped out the projected rate and earnings. After a few months of that reality, drivers switch to local work, or switch companies, or leave the trucking industry altogether. The end result is not a shortage. It is the natural response of a driver realizing that they are being taken advantage of.
It's gotta be about driver retention for a trucking company that wants to not only survive, but to grow and make a long-term profit. Driver retention improves when the job is designed to compensate a driver for his or her time. Paid detention turns waiting into earnings rather than a complete loss of time. Guaranteed weekly minimums will smooth out a week lagging in miles. Predictable home time reduces burnout and helps out a driver's family life. Clear, enforced safety policies reduce pressure to run illegal or skip rest. Transparent pay plans that compensate drivers for non-driving tasks are a big selling point, along with having incentive bonuses in place for safety and service goals. None of these ideas are new or mysterious in nature. To me, they are common sense and straightforward ways that will keep drivers happy and increase driver retention.
One of the least discussed things in the trucking industry is training, or the lack thereof. The entry-level driver training rules were meant to standardize and create a baseline of performance. In practice, it hasn't worked out that way, mainly because the quality of what is being taught or what is not being taught can be so radically different from one training facility to another. Some schools do a good job teaching professionalism, how to use critical thinking in traffic situations, and real-world trip planning. Others operate as nothing more than CDL puppy mills that focus on passing the test rather than mastering the craft. The difference shows up immediately on the road. Undertrained drivers struggle with hours of service management, backing in tight urban docks, winter driving, trip time estimation, map reading, and defensive driving in mixed traffic. When drivers are thrown into those realities without a solid foundation, they burn out faster, make more mistakes, and end up leaving the trucking industry. That is not a shortage. That is a predictable result from poor preparation.
We are trying to grow this channel to help truck drivers along with educating the general public. You can help us out by smashing that like button and the notification bell. Remember to subscribe and share this with another driver. Protect your load, protect your rig, and protect yourself.
Leave us a comment below with your thoughts and ideas. If it's a good idea, we will share it with everyone. Subscribe for more trucking truth, and together we'll keep hammering this issue till somebody listens. Well, my friends, stay safe and stay loaded out there. Catch you on the rebound. Remember to keep that left door closed and your hands on the wheel.